All right, this is the weekly coffee video for the week of Monday, August 5th, still reflecting the September contract and following the settlement several weeks ago below this 110.74 channel bottom. The market still remains in a bearish mode, still expecting the 84.14 to 87.60 region, probably within 1 to 3 weeks now, instead of the 3 to 5 before. Let's take a look at the newsletter itself. I do have 9140 this week. I'm calling it session containment. May well contain weekly selling pressures, but I don't want you getting hung up there on a long position. If we close the week below it, then certainly that 8760 level is expected next week. This is the start of a range of targeted support down to 8414 that can absorb selling on a monthly, quite possibly a quarterly basis. If we close this week below 84.14, highly unlikely, that would set off a secondary sell signal down to the 66.96 channel bottom within possibly as little as another 3 to 5 weeks, although it could take a couple of months depending on volatility. That 66.96 channel bottom able to contain selling well into next year. But it is not a target until we close below 84.14. Now, upside this week, if we close any day session above 98.30, then 104.98 is attainable, where we can top out through next week and below which secondary selling pressures remain into later August, that 84.14 formation in reach over the next several weeks. If we close the week above 104.98, then the market could recover into the 112.49 to 115.95 region within several weeks. Let me show you that on a chart. There's 115.95. That's the primary channel resistance structure that, if settled above, would tip the market north into later year. But it is our overhead ceiling into later year. And there's 112.49, which is actually more significant on a technical basis. And this 112.49 to 115.95 region can absorb buying into later year. And we did test this about a month and a half ago. And following that test, I'd been mentioning the 80s, the 84.40 area. Let's find it again. There it is. 84.14 area as our big picture target. And that remains in effect for the month of August below 104.98, and really into the later third quarter below this 112.49 to 115.95 region. Once again, we have session containment levels at 91.40 and 98.30, both of which can contain session highs and session lows, possibly into later week. Closing the week below 91.40 does indicate that 84.14 area within 1 or 2 weeks. Closing the week above 98.30 indicates 104.98 by the end of next week. Once again, able to contain weekly buying pressures when tested, and below which we remain bearish into later August, expecting 84.14 over the next several weeks. If we close this week above 104.98, highly unlikely, but if so, the market could recover into that 112.49 to 115.95 long-term resistance level over the following 2 to 3 weeks, where once again we can top out into the fourth quarter. And that is really all that needs to be said for this week's September coffee.